everybody. Today is Saturday and it's tattoo day, and I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys, I'm terrified. I actually have 3 tattoos already. This is one of them. The other 2 I can't show you, but it's my first time going to that studio. And although I've done my research and I've seen their amazing work, I just can't help but be nervous. I'll be getting 2 tattoos. I actually asked my grandma and my aunt 2 years ago to draw some flowers, and I asked my mom to draw another one because I do want to make like a cute little bouquet. And the second tattoo is a bookish tattoo. My boyfriend will be coming with me, and the appointment is at 5 and it's currently like 3:20, 3:25. I just got ready ahead of time because I hate being late. I'll be taking my camera with me because I do want to record a lot of the process. And I'm terrified that my phone is gonna run out of storage. The reason I tend to record with my phone and not with my camera is because my camera doesn't have one of those like screens that flip, so it's a little weird. Hey everybody, so it turns out that we went to the wrong one. So now it's gonna be like 15 minutes and public transport to get to Madrid, so.
I hate being late.
Hi, so I'm finally back home. This is one of the tattoos. I have to say they were so nice. Everything went super smoothly, and to be honest, I'm so happy with how everything turned out. I think they look amazing. I showed my hip tattoo to my mom, my grandma, and my aunt, and they were so happy about it. I actually almost started crying at the tattoo parlor because I was very emotional. These 2 tattoos are very personal to me. They represent 2 of the things that have made me who I am today. The women in my family who have given up so much to raise me and help me become the woman that I am today. I do believe that reading has made me a better person. The idea that I can live 1,000 lives just by reading words on a paper is actually insane. And there's always a new book to read. Every single book has a chapter 1. There's always going to be a new story to tell. So I'm very happy, and I do apologize because I did not record and film stuff as much as I wanted to, but they were very strict about who could enter the room or not to allow the artists to have their space. Totally understandable, by the way. Hello. This is so, hello, wait a second. But it's the next day, and it's almost been 24 hours, but I feel like it's already time to take it off because, I mean, look at this, disgusting. I've watched a bunch of videos. Apparently I have to put like a little bit of water to loosen up the glue, and then I just have to pull. I'm terrified because some people say that it's painful. I don't think it will be though, because my tattoos are small. Alright, let's see if I can. Okay, this is a little painful. That was a horrible experience, and I still have to do the one on my hip. And this one is red too. The one on my hip didn't hurt as much as this one though, because what the hell was that? Okay. Hello. So this is the part of the video that I feel like most of you actually wanted to watch. By the time I post this video, we're gonna be well into October. So I keep thinking, what's the point? But then again, I had such a good reading month. I can't let this opportunity pass. And as your personal favorite booktuber, I feel like it's my responsibility to tell you guys about the books that I've read. So let's start off by the fact that August was horrible for me, okay? I was in a reading slump for a month and a half. That is too much. If you guys know me, that is too much, okay? I am not mentally stable enough. I am not emotionally stable enough. So I was desperate. at that point, okay? I was this close to start crying. I was frustrated, nothing was working. I tried rereading a lot of other books. I kept opening books, reading maybe like 30 pages and then closing them back up. So the thing is, I had my last resort. I was like, if this doesn't work, literature is dead to me. Am I being dramatic? Maybe, but what I felt in that moment was real. If you guys follow me from TikTok, then you already know what my favorite series in the world is. It's the Shatter Me series with the Haramafi. That series is everything to me. In the first half of this year, I read for the second time the first trilogy only, and then I left it there, and I was like, I'm just gonna keep reading other things, and I was like, it's time to continue. So I decided to pick up for Stormy, and I was like, if this doesn't work, if this doesn't get me out of her reading slump, I'm done for. Luckily, this series always has my back because it did get me out of her reading slump. A year ago, I would have told you that this is my least favorite book in this series just because it's so sad, it's so depressing. Good, but depressing. Now that I've reread it, I don't know what to tell you because this book contains my favorite plot twist of all time. The writing was so good and I miss this character so much. Maybe this is nostalgia talking, but I love this book and I know it's slow and I know it's an introduction to an even bigger world outside of Sector 45. It was fascinating to me a year ago. It's fascinating to me now. I have nothing else to say. Anything Shatter Me related is amazing. And I said, now that I've gotten back into the mood of reading, I'm just gonna keep rereading stuff until I just feel like picking up something new. But after that emotional roller coaster, I'm like, I'm gonna need something easy. I'm gonna need something light. I read again for the second time King of Wrath by Anna Huang, which is the first book in the Kings of Sin series. If you guys don't know about the Kings of Sin series, it's basically the series that comes after the Twisted series, you know, Twisted Love, Twisted Games, etc. And although you can read those two series separately, I recommend you read the Twisted series first and then Kings of Sin because Ante Russo, who's the MMC of this book, appears in the Twisted series for the first time. This book had me listen. If you're here to tell me that this is not real literature, you can leave. Respectfully. Actually, stay, please, I want you here. But I had so much fun, okay? This book was fun. It was like it gave me what I needed. Now, with that said, after having read King of Pride, King of Greed, and King of Sloth, this is still my least favorite book in the series. That doesn't mean that it's bad, I just don't think it's as good as the others. Then again, I think I gave it like 3.75 stars out of 5, maybe, I don't remember. I might have changed it. I'm not sure though. Okay, so my rereading was done. I was like, it's time for new stuff. And back in August, before I got into my reading slump, I actually started reading Apprentice to the Villain, which is the second book in the Assistant to the Villain series by Hannah Nicole. And I'm not gonna pronounce her last name because I don't want to butcher it, so I'm sorry. But yeah, if you guys follow me on TikTok, you know how much I loved Assistant to the Villain. It was so fun. And I jumped straight into the second book because I was so excited. Unfortunately, I got into a reading slump, so it took me a month and a half to get back into reading that book, but when I did, it was 100% worth it. I loved this book. The only reason I didn't give it 5 stars is because unlike the first book, the second one isn't as cozy. Now, if you guys don't know anything about Assistant to the Villain is a romantasy rom-com. This fantasy world where there's like this villain that everyone is terrified of, and then there's this girl called Evie. She finds him one day and he's like, I kind of need an assistant. Do you want to be my assistant? And she's like, okay, sure, because I need a job. That's like a simple way to put it, I would say. So the first book, I feel like the best way to describe it would be cute, funny scenarios put together. And there's obviously a plot, but I feel like that one is a little bit more secondary, at least until you get to the end. At the end, I feel like the plot is like more prominent. You kind of start to understand what's actually happening there, and that plot becomes the main focus in the second book. If you're someone who likes adventures, if you're someone who likes reading stories that take place in different locations, I feel like the second book you're gonna like more. This is more of like a personal preference. Again, I absolutely loved both. They both carry the same tone and theme. I feel like they're just executed differently. And I personally like the first book more, but the second book was amazing. It wasn't cozy, but it was so fun. The slow burn, don't even get me started. Actually, let's talk about it. It's a kind of slow burn where you just know. At this point, it's pretty obvious that they're in love with each other. They were just too stupid, and I love it. And also, the way it ended, I need book 3. I can't wait until you're telling me I'm gonna have to wait an entire year to read what happens. That's insane. Anyways, totally recommend it. I think I gave it a 4.75 out of 5 stars. So after I read some cute stuff, I'm like, I want to get back into dark romance. It's been a long time, and I was like, you know what? This time I'm gonna try getting into paranormal stuff. I decided to read Death's Obsession by Avina St. Graves. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, because I did read Skin of a Sinner and surprisingly I actually enjoyed it. If you know me, no you don't, you've never heard me say that, but I did actually enjoy it. I'm gonna give another one of her books a try, and so I decided to go with Death's Obsession. What the hell was that book? It was not for me. I don't want to shame anybody who enjoyed it. I'm just gonna say it was not for me. I don't know what to say. It was just not good. It was too... Guys, I'm trying to put this in the best way possible. I just don't know, because if it were for me, I would just like roast this book. The writing? It was nothing like Skin of a Sinner. It was so confusing. Like 90% of the time I was like, what the hell is actually happening? I know a lot of stuff was meant to be cute and romantic.
Be nice. I'm finding it.
But to me it just seemed bizarre. I do not recommend it. I do know some people, actually not some people, I know only one person who's enjoyed it. So if you're into paranormal stuff, go ahead and read it because it's also short. It's only like 240 pages or something like that. If you want a quick paranormal dark romance read, then I would tell you to go for this one. But I think I gave it 1 star out of 5. And then I decided to go back to Chestnut Springs. I was in the mood for some cowboy stuff. And at that time, I had read every single Chestnut Springs book except the last one. I read almost the entire series back in summer, or like months ago even. And for some reason, when I arrived to the last book, I was like, I don't feel like reading this anymore, so I just left it there. It was abandoned for a lot of time. I really liked Hopeless. I do have to say that it's not even close to being my favorite in the series. I feel like it's my second to last, maybe? Is that how you guys say it? I don't know. Not my favorite, but it wasn't bad at all. I think like 3 stars out of 5, maybe. It was good. It was cute. It was fun. It was a really good story. I liked both characters. But Bo was one of my favorite characters in the other books. And for some reason, this book kind of fell flat. I liked the FMC. I thought she was very likable. But I do have to say that a lot of the scenes were very repetitive. Like we just kept going back and forth all the time. And I was like, okay, come on you guys. It's not that deep. It shouldn't be this hard. I feel like this book was longer than it should have been. But again, really enjoyable. If you're looking for a light, sexy, easy to read romance, then I recommend the Chestnut Springs series by Elsie Silver. But yeah, this book just wasn't my favorite. It was good, it was fun, it was entertaining. I just didn't like it as much as the others. And then I finally started feeling the autumn vibes. I started feeling the fall season vibes around me. And so it was like, it's dark academia time. And I kept looking, a lot of recommendations, but not all of them were appealing until I found one. And I was like, you know what, it's time. And so I read Gothicana. Let me tell y'all, nobody told me how good that book is. Now listen. Is it the best thing ever written? No. Is it Shakespeare level of writing? No. Okay, but not everything has to be a literary masterpiece, okay? This book was so fun. Let me tell you, it had me on the edge of my seat. I ate this book up. The vibes were immaculate. Listen, usually I'm not into like Professor X student stories, but this one, again, if you know me, no you don't. What can I say? It was sexy, it was interesting, and the actual plot was really interesting. Like it wasn't only about the romance or, you know, the dark, mysterious MMC. It was also about the fact that the plot was actually interesting. Darker than I expected, but I think it was a positive surprise. A bunch of people have asked me if this is a spicy dark academia romance, because I know that some people don't like reading it, so I feel like it's my responsibility to tell you that this has a lot of spice. If you're not into that kind of stuff, then this is not your book. But if you're into dark academia, dark romance, and paranormal mysteries, then 100% give this book a try, because I really, really enjoyed it to the point where I already want to reread it. So finally, this brings me to the last book that I got to read in September. And let me tell you, excluding Restore Me from the Shatter Me series, this is my favorite book that I've read this month. And honestly, I feel bad for any book that comes after this one because the standards are high. If you follow me on TikTok, then I think you already know what book I'm talking about because I haven't stopped talking about it since I finished it. This book is the kind of book that marks you. It's the kind of book that stays with you, and it's the kind of book that will have you thinking about it for months and months. I read my first R.F. Kuang book, Babel. This book destroyed me, and I have proof. I wasn't even like 100 pages in, and I already knew that this book was gonna destroy me. I was terrified because I did see a lot of people say that this was a very dense book, but at the same time, I didn't know what it was about. I just thought it was just like a bunch of friends and their adventures at Oxford, so I didn't know what to expect. I had no idea what this story was about. I just bought this book months ago. It was sitting on my shelf. I knew it was dark academia, and let me tell you, it did not disappoint. I do have to say that as someone whose first language isn't English, this book was kind of a challenge because a lot of the times I couldn't understand what they were saying. I was like, oh, this is too much. They're using smart people words, which is amazing because I get to learn more. At times I had to kind of push through, to keep reading because it is very dense when it comes to academic stuff. But the story, the meaning, the characters, every single thing about this book, I hold very close to my heart. And as a daughter of immigrants and an immigrant myself, as someone who grew up speaking multiple languages, I don't even want to talk about it. I'm gonna get emotional. I'm literally gonna start crying. I finished it last Friday, but when I think about it, I always feel like crying. I have nothing else to say. This has become one of my favorite books of all time. I can't even begin to express how hard this book hit me. The only thing I can say is read it. It's totally worth it. I will say that if you're in a reading slump, if you're looking for something quick, light, and easy to read, this book is not it. Stay away from this book. This is the type of book that you have to read when you actually feel like reading it, when you're actually in the mood of reading it. Because if not, it will feel very heavy. It will feel like you're reading it out of obligation rather than actually enjoying and understanding every single thing about this book. This is the type of book that requires 100% of your attention, but it is 100% worth it. I give it 5 stars because I could not give it 6. If I could give it more than 5 stars, I would. This was the highlight of September for me. I think this is everything. This might not be a lot to a lot of people, but the fact that I was in a reading slump for a month and a half and I managed to read all of these books in September, I feel proud of myself. I think this is all. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you guys watched the entire thing, honestly, I love you. If you don't follow me on TikTok, then I'm mostly active on there and I'm getting better at Bookstagram, so follow me there if you'd like. And if you want to see my frequent updates and full reviews for every single one of the books that I read, then go follow me on Goodreads. Everything is linked down below. And as always, thank you guys so much for your support. It really means the world to me. Until next time.